y'all, welcome back to Recipes and Receipts. On tonight's episode, we are making burger bowls. So I went over to my local Dollar General instead of Aldi's because I only needed a few things, and our Dollar General actually has a fresh produce section, and I did not feel like making the drive into town just to grab the few things that I'm grabbing from Dollar General. So starting off, I am getting a pack of tomatoes, and then look how much stuff they actually have in this Dollar General, despite the fact they were a little bit understocked. They have watermelons, cuties, all the things. I thought that was awesome. So I'm grabbing a head of lettuce, and then I am headed back to dairy, if you would even call it like dairy. It's like a dairy section. Cheese, I'm getting cheese. Okay, so I'm grabbing a pack of American cheese. I'm not a super big fan of Dollar General's cheese, not the generic kind, but it'll have to do for this video. And then I am grabbing some bacon back from their meat section, if you want to call it a meat section. I don't know. I usually don't get fresh things like this from Dollar General, but I wanted to try it because I do think it's nice to know that you have this option if you are trying to shop on a budget and you have a Dollar General with a produce section like this. So the next thing I needed to grab was some ketchup because we were completely out of ketchup back at the house. I am also grabbing a jar of pickles. For this recipe, you can use any kind of pickle that you like. I'm going with pickle spears just because I like to snack on them throughout the week if I have them in the house. Now that I've got all the items I needed, I am headed up to checkout. I did ask the cashier if I could film her ringing up my items, but since I was making conversation with her while she was checking me out, I did not record any of that, so there are no checkout beeps in this video. This was definitely one of the fastest hauls that I've done. I was in and out. I was so ready to go home and start cooking, and the total for this haul came out to $23.69. For this recipe, you're gonna need lettuce, 1 pound of ground beef, bacon, golden potatoes, cheese slices, 1 to 2 tomatoes, 1 onion, pickles, and optional you can use ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise. Per usual, we are starting off with cutting up all of our vegetables. Now for this recipe, since I'm only feeding 2 people with this, I'm using 6 golden potatoes. That's roughly 3 potatoes per person. The potatoes are going to be the base of your bowl, kind of like the french fries to your Big Mac. So you don't need to make that much because there are going to be so many other things that go into your bowl along with the potatoes. So use as many as you need to feed the amount of people that you're cooking for. Now, originally, I did think I was going to use 2 tomatoes, but I ended up only using 1, so you'll see me put 1 back. Again, depends on how much tomato you want in your own bowl, how much tomato other people want in their bowls. Kind of play that by ear. You can add as much or as little of these ingredients as you want. There really is no exact measure. This is just what I'm recommending because this is what fills me and Evan up every single time we make these bowls, and we make them pretty frequently. So now I'm just chopping up a red onion. You'll see that I put half of it to the side with the tomatoes, and then I add the other half to the golden potatoes, and that's because I'm going to cook some of that onion in with the potatoes. So turning our stovetop on to a medium-high heat, we're drizzling some olive oil into our cast iron skillet, and then Evan is adding some beef fat that we keep stored in the fridge so that we can start cooking those potatoes up. I am also prepping the pan to start cooking and browning our meat. Adding those potatoes into the cast iron skillet. The only thing I'm gonna season those with is the Lawry's seasoning salt, which is why I didn't make a seasonings list because this is the only seasoning that I use for this entire recipe. Giving those a good stir, we wanna make sure that they're evenly distributed so that they'll cook properly. And then we're just gonna slap the lid on so that we can retain some of that heat in the skillet. Also, I found pepper jack cheese in the fridge, so we're gonna use that for this recipe instead of the sliced cheese that I bought because pepper jack is so much better in my opinion. And then for this recipe, I'm only using about 1/4 of this head of lettuce that I bought. And thinking about it, these burger bowls are technically like salad bowls, except the base of it is potatoes and not lettuce, so it's probably not as healthy. However, all of the food pyramid is included in this recipe because you've got your fruits, vegetables, your dairy, your meats, so I would say maybe it's even better than your typical salad. Food for thought. Food for you. Anyways, I'm using 3 pickles for our bowls. We are big pickle people in this household. If you're not a pickle person, that's okay. Don't add them. Also, try saying pickle people 3 times fast. Pickle people, pickle people, pickle people. That's a tongue twister. Put those pickles to the side with the rest of your toppings. And you're good to go ahead and start prepping your beef. Again, we are using 1 pound of ground beef. We use the grass-fed beef, either from Walmart or Aldi's, just depends on where we're shopping that day. Y'all, I record a lot of this one-handed and have to use my other hand to do these things, so it took me forever to get this meat out of the bag, but we kept it in. For the sake of authenticity, go ahead, flatten that out, mix that around. Checking on our potatoes, okay, you will see that my potatoes here are steaming. They're severely steamy and they're sticking to the bottom. I did not put enough oil in this pan. It's okay because they're still going to be crispy at the end, but definitely add more oil to your pan because you want to basically fry them. It's like you're deep frying them. Our meat is halfway done to being ready, so at this point I'm just alternating between checking on the meat, checking on the potatoes. And because a lot of our Crispies were sticking to the bottom of the pan, I did have to take a fork and taste a couple of these just to make sure that they were cooked all the way through, and they were. So I went ahead and started divvying them out into our bowls, which are actually ramen bowls because they're the biggest bowls that we have. And guys, look how good that looks with the onions in there and everything. So yummy. So keep them warm. We're just popping those bad boys into the microwave because our meat has to finish browning and we also need to cook our bacon. I am using 4 pieces of bacon for this recipe, so that's about 2 pieces of bacon per person, but we do chop them up so you can measure those out however you want at the end. Also, I just realized that I use the expressions cook, bake, and fry interchangeably, but they don't mean the same thing, and I don't think they're supposed to be used interchangeably. So I'm frying the bacon, not cooking it. I think that's more proper. Anyways, we are dividing up our meat now that it's done into 4 little sections, and we're gonna place our slices of cheese on top of each of those little sections, so into quarters, so that the cheese will melt down and it'll hold on to those meats, and it kind of makes like a makeshift patty when you go to take it out of the pan. This is a very important step. And now that our bacon is frying, we can start constructing our bowls because we are near the end. So add your lettuce, your tomato, your onions, your pickles, anything else you want to put in your burger bowl. And since we are at the end, this is also where you can add in the optional mayonnaise, mustard, or ketchup if you want it to taste like an actual burger. You'll see at the end that I add Cattleman's Carolina barbecue because that's just what I like, but do whatever. So this is what I was talking about, guys. That cheese has melted down, it has latched onto all of that meat, so when you scoop it out, it keeps everything together, like a burger patty. So you're gonna slap 1 of those on, 2 of those on. I guess technically we make enough for these to be double burger bowls, but that works in me and Evan's favor because we're trying to up our protein intake. Last but not least, we are grabbing out our bacon. Now I know you've probably noticed that the ends of these bacon pieces do not look like they're cooked. It's fine. We were so hungry at this point. We're gonna cut those pieces off and put them in a scrap pile. We're not gonna eat them. We're only eating what's cooked. But we just could not wait, and the house smelt so heavenly at this point. So here I am just adding that cooked bacon, I promise you it is cooked, to both of our bowls. And y'all, if you followed this recipe, this is what your burger bowl should look like. It's gonna taste delicious, it's gonna be delicious. Here I am adding that Cattleman's barbecue. I'm really excited for you guys to try this recipe. It's one of my favorites. I was super stoked to share it, and I hope you guys will let me know in the comments how you liked it. It's quick, it's easy, it's affordable. It's one of those go-to meals that you can put in rotation that people just will not get sick of. Anyways, y'all, love ya, mean it. See you later. Bye.